You can follow him on social media. I'm going to put his link right there in the chat room. Go look him up. Like I said, he's been director of part of very, very, very good movies. So, before he calls in, talk about a couple other things from this week. So, the Mavs situation. Obviously, there's been a lot talked about. Obviously, there's been Dirk is caught in the mix of this. You have Mark Cuban, you have the HR director, you have the former CEO, Tyjun Mack. I mean, it is a huge mess. But the two things I wanted to share on this. Number one is nobody is safe. You don't know who you have on your team. You think you may know who you hired, but you don't know. You don't know. You don't know who that person is. You don't know what that person does on the sly or does on the low. You just don't know. And nobody is safe. Nobody. I didn't think this would happen to the Mavs, but nobody is safe. You don't know who you're going to have in your organization messing around. So, and I agree with you, BAB, the Mavs are trash. They are. And they're going to be trash for a while now. So, moving on from that, anybody that's a Boston Red Sox fan, JD Martinez signs with the Red Sox, $110 million deal for 5 years. That's a huge deal right there. Boston should be good. Boston's always in the mix every single year. But Boston has got themselves a quality outfielder. A quality outfielder that can definitely help them. BAB says fire Rick Carlisle. I mean, I do think it's time. You know what I really want to see? What I really want to see happen is bring Jason Kidd in here. Jason Kidd is a free agent right now. I think he can come in and do amazing things with this Mavs team. I think he can relate to the players. I think he is very relatable. I think he's got a track record. He's young. I think he can even grow with this team. I don't know if the Mavs are going to do that, though. I don't know. Sluggo says Georgia State versus University of Texas at Arlington is about an hour live from Dallas. Yeah, UT Arlington is an upcoming team. I know Georgia State, I believe that is your alum. So shout out to them. Yeah, BAB, they fired Avery Johnson after a season. The Mavs won 55 games. Yeah. I don't agree with that at all. And honestly, I think a huge part of it is, which has been said on local radio, that Mark Cuban is probably a guy that manages everything by email. Or walking by and saying, hey, is everything good? There's nothing to worry about. Okay, move it along. And I think Mark Cuban is so tangled up in so many other things that it's difficult for him to focus on basketball. Difficult for him to focus on the Mavs. That's my thoughts. And that's my opinion. And this got past him, and it should have gotten past him. This could be huge problems going forward with the Mavs. I don't know what the type of punishment is going to be, but this is what happens. This is what happens when you're in this situation. Then news that was released, I believe yesterday, Marcus Peters gets traded to the Rams from the Chiefs. All right, we got our guest up on the line, Mr. Deon Taylor. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. I appreciate you for wanting to come on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man, anytime, brother. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Definitely. So, We're on the line with Deon Taylor. He is the director of the new movie Traffik, starring Omar, Epps, and Paula, Patton. You've also directed Meet the Blacks. And what are some other movies that you've also directed on your resume?
Yeah, we did Supremacy, 2016, which was a critical acclaimed film, which I'm still really proud of. And most recently, we just finished a film called Motivated Seller with Megan Good, Michael Ealy, and Dennis Quaid. And we also just finished the new Meet the Blacks 2 with Mike Epps, Cat Williams, and Rick Ross. So yeah, we got a bunch of stuff in the oven, man.
Okay, that sounds like that's gonna be crazy, especially with Cat Williams and Rick Ross. I don't know if Rick Ross has been in that many movies, but I know that's gonna be a good one coming out. I'm definitely excited. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it looks good too, man. I'm excited for it.
Definitely.
It's funny, yeah.
Yeah. So once again, we're talking to Deon Taylor. Talk about the upcoming movie Traffik, which is going to be coming out within the next couple of months, I believe. Talk about that movie. Kind of give the listeners a little bit. Don't give them too much, so they can definitely go check it out.
Okay, everybody dies at the end. No, yeah, the movie is Traffik, man. I don't even have the vocabulary to say how excited I am about the film. Being an independent filmmaker, you're lucky when you have an opportunity to just make a movie, right? Right. But let alone have the opportunity to actually make a movie and then get it set up at a major studio for a major wide release. So, that's off the charts for us. So I'm excited about the movie because it's a pretty incredible film, man. The movie falls in line with something like, it would be more like Get Out meets The Vanishing. Has a very, very interesting and thoughtful setup. The film follows a couple, Paula, Patton, and Omar Epps. Paula is a reporter, and basically, she's in a relationship with Omar. She's very reluctant to be with him just because she's really business driven. She's trying to get her own business set up as a journalist, and he decides, let me take her away from her job and everything for a weekend, basically to pretty much propose to her. And what ultimately happens is they make one stop at a gas station, and everything completely changes for them for this weekend. And the movie is grounded in reality. There's a lot of based on true events that take place throughout the film. But I can't say too much about it, but I will say this. You will be pleasantly surprised. You will be on the edge of your seat. You will be talking to the screen. You will do all of those things, man. So I'm just really excited about it, and especially right now in this climate. Obviously, Black Panther is a phenom. Like, right. Nothing. It's just like Black Panther. No, it ain't. No, it's not. But what's great about it is, written by a Black filmmaker, directed by a Black filmmaker, completely financed by a Black individual, right? And then it has an incredible Black cast. But, I just think the movie is phenomenal. It tested through the roof. People love it. The critics love it. And I'm just at the point now where I'm just excited for people to see it, man.
Yeah, I'm excited myself. When I seen the preview, I'm thinking like, wow, this is a top movie with top actors. It also has that feel like you don't know what's gonna happen. I looked at the preview and I'm like, what? Is somebody gonna die? What exactly is gonna happen in this movie? Yeah. And I think that's the suspense that people want to see.
Yeah, I agree, man. And it's funny because, when the trailer comes, you always get a bunch of people like, they showed the whole movie in the trailer. You know what I mean? I know everything now. I ain't even got to see it. No, you don't. Right? Because I'm sitting there like, oh, man, this is crazy because the movie has so many twists and turns, you know, to when we were cutting the trailer, you know, talking to all the, you know, the trailer house and the people that's actually working on the marketing, and they're like, man, should we go it this way or this way? And I said, you just, you know, put it all in there. Put what you want to put in there, because you'll never guess at this movie.
Right.
It's pretty smart that way. And I think it's a throwback to old cinema. You know what I mean? Like when you used to really be able to go to the movie and say, man, I can't wait to watch this. And then when you get up, you say, dang, I didn't see that coming.
Right.
It has a lot of that. It has a lot of that, which I'm really proud of, man. So, you know, I'm thankful, you know, to people like yourself, and it's been pretty amazing, man, just seeing the support of just, you know, a lot of people, man, in our world, just supporting me and supporting the movie, and, you know, really wanting to get behind stuff that people are doing independently now. I think it's just a really good time for, you know, for us, you know?
Right, definitely. I mean, I think independent is huge. I mean, that's a lot of what I'm doing this podcasting is independent, 100% funded by moi. And I want to support people that are doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. So it's amazing. It's a movie that everybody needs to go see. But I wanted to talk about, you have a journey from pro basketball to filmmaking. Talk about that journey and just what made you want to go into filmmaking.
Yeah, man. We don't have enough time for the whole story. But
I guess a snippet of the story.
No, but I love sharing it, man. I love sharing it with everyone based on the fact that, you know, we live in a world right now where we don't have role models. You know, the people that you basically bet on, the people that you know, look up to, in so many instances, we get disappointed because, you know, through social media and through phones and all this other stuff, people, you know, bring those people down. So it's always good for me, not just for myself, but when I get to hear authentic stories about people that have actually come from nothing and actually made something out of themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a blessing, like even talking to you and your podcast and what you just said. Like, that's the new movement. You know what I mean? Like, you got up, you created your own podcast, you're marketing yourself. That's the business, man. Like, that's what our ancestors died for. You know what I mean? For you to be doing exactly what you're doing right now at this moment on this podcast. Man. And my story is unique in the fact that I came from Gary, Indiana, you know, murder capital of the world. I played basketball at Lew Wallace High School, played AAU with Glenn Robinson. You know, bad place, man. And, you know, all I knew was a basketball. You know, either you was, you know, in the streets, you was hooping, trying to rap, you know what I mean, or getting killed, right?
Right,
and,
right, one of those.
And that situation, you know, my mom was absolutely instrumental in my life, man. She's a single parent, raised me and my brother. And, you know, she actually won the lottery in Gary, like the numbers, right? Not the real lottery. Don't get it confused.
The numbers.
She won the numbers, man. She won $1,300, and we bought a car, and she drove me up out of there. Wow. And she drove us to California, man. She had a friend that lived at the time in Sacramento, and I was a really, really good basketball player. You know, there were some coaches that had heard we might be moving that was like, you know, said, hey, if y'all get out here, we'll help, you know. And that began my journey, man. I left Gary, Indiana. My whole family's still out there. And eventually went to a high school in Sacramento, got a full ride scholarship to San Diego State, played ball there. And then, you know, like every other kid, you don't really know what you're going to do. You know, the NBA is, you know, NBA, that's all you know. And that didn't pan out, man. I ended up going overseas. And in Germany is where my first stop was. And, you know, I didn't speak the language, so I was in East Germany at the time. And I just remember like being like, I got to get the hell out of here, right? Like I loved playing ball, but I was not accustomed to being out of the country. I had never left the country. I didn't you know, it was foreign. I didn't speak the language. It was freezing.